Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. That's probably one of the most common quotes in the self-help space, along with you're the average of the five people that you spend the most time with. And these are true because they are basically a statement on top of kind of analysis of people and friendships and relationships and what we're like as humans. Because ultimately, as humans, the best way to kind of analyze what we're like is to take it all the way back to the tribal days when it was all survival based and tribal, and we're trying to fit into the tribe. Because ultimately, nothing has changed in civilization in terms of our innate needs and desires and wants. It's only that the material world has changed, and obviously because in most countries our material and survival needs are met, we are no longer trying to survive, we're trying to, you know, actually make something out of our lives ultimately. Now when it comes to friendships and relationships, those innate needs from thousands of years ago are still there, like our tribal ancestors. We're still trying to fit into tribes. It's just that now instead of tribes, it's friendship groups and relationships. Instead of, it's just like, back in the thousands of years ago with tribes, it was all about mating and the man trying to, the male trying to show off to, you know, please the female so that they could mate, basically. We now do that with dating and clubs and Tinder and all these things to do with people just ultimately trying to hook up and ultimately mate, basically. That's hitting a nail on the head there with it. But it comes down to friendships as well, and even our family to a certain extent. But especially with the friends and those two quotes, like you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. And, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. The reason those two quotes are so closely related and just are so true is because of how tribal we are and how we always go back to that innate desire and that innate need and feeling of wanting to fit in with a tribe. And that's why we have friends based on so many different variables and reasons. And this is why I wanted to make this to talk about how you can have unhealthy friendships and healthy friendships and the difference between them and the differences between them. Now, one of the main differences I think I want to dive into is that I think most people don't realize why they're friends with the friends that they have. And most people don't have the friends that they think they have for the right reasons. Like, for instance, a lot of people are friends with them, have their friends because of habits. It might be that you have a certain friendship group purely because you go clubbing with them, or because you like to go for drinks with them, or you like to go to the park and have a smoke with them and a drink with them, or you like to game with them, or you like to watch these films with them, or whatever it might be, habits or hobbies or whatever it might be. And the best thing you can do is obviously analyze these groups you have of people in your life that you're friends with and connections with or whatever, and even family, and actually see what kind of influence they have on your life. What do they, as a friend, not necessarily peer pressure into doing, but just as a friend, they naturally will convince you to want to do something, even if it's an unhealthy thing, because you're just good friends. Whether that's going for a smoke, going for a drink, going clubbing, going whatever it might be. And obviously, some friends might be amazing for convincing you to go clubbing because maybe you're a nervous person and you're not very good with the opposite sex, but you want to be and you wish you were, so that person helps you out of your comfort zone, helps you go to social environments, parties, clubs, and ends up helping you over time, getting you to talk to women, and they might help you into a relationship. So you might think that at first, oh, well, I'm wasting my time going to a club, I'm wasting my time socializing. But actually, they're helping you, whether it's in a great way or not, but either way, for the long term, helping you break out of your shell, get out of your comfort zone, and end up talking to the opposite sex, talking to more people, and maybe even help you hook up with someone and get into a long-term relationship. But either way, you've learned many lessons from that friendship. And I think the biggest lesson of all of this here is actually you want to know your friends' true intentions with you. Like, what do your friends say about you when you're not there? And those are the friends you want when it's only good things. And sometimes it's actually bad things. And the reason for that is because you want honest friends. And this is where I've messed up in life as well. Because some of the people I've got closest to in life, I've had massive accountability issues with in the past, and even up till recent months and years, is because I've lacked the accountability, and I've been working on that and working on being just as authentic as I possibly can, and not trying to display any sort of false pride or showing off an image that isn't just me because I think it feels good for myself and I'm just trying to prove that I'm worth something to myself in that case. But in the end, screwing up a relationship or a friendship in some way. And so the whole thing about how your friends talk about you when you're not there is very important, because it's great to have them talk positively about you if they should and if they can have the opportunity to, but you shouldn't have people talk dishonestly about you. And I think that's the most important thing. And this is coming from someone that has had a history of lying to their friends for the sake of validation and for the sake of pleasing them, or for the sake of, in my own deluded head at the time, thinking that that is going to help me in that scenario somehow. So when it comes to your friends, it's looking at the friendships you have and the groups that you're with and seeing whether it's a healthy friendship or an unhealthy friendship, and then getting maybe other people's opinions as well, asking people, does this person have a positive, like a net positive or a net benefit, a net positive or net negative on my life? Like, what is this person's true intentions with me? And often, a lot of the time, people don't even know themselves, because they're trying to, well, we're all ultimately trying to figure ourselves out. It's kind of a life purpose anyway, to figure ourselves out and figure out what we have, what's going on and how we can fix ourselves to be the best person that we can possibly be. So a lot of the time, if someone asks you their true intentions about you, well, someone asks what their intentions are and how they view you as a friend, a lot of the time it might be their own self-reflection. And so obviously, in a way, going into these whole rabbit holes of who are our true friends, who are real friends, are friends great or friends bad, it can also help you learn to understand them better. They might understand you better by asking, and just generally helps you understand people better and just kind of human psychology as a whole. Because you might selfishly be thinking, well, what does this person think of me? Am I bad? Am I good? Am I what? But then actually they're in their own bubble as well, trying to figure their own stuff out. And you might be questioning, oh, am I this? Am I that? What do you think of me? What am I this? And they're trying to think about the same stuff. So it's actually great if you can all come together and work things out together, ask each other truthfully and honestly and authentically, why are we friends? What do we get out of these friendships? What do we get out of knowing each other and being friends with each other and hanging out with each other? Have we, improved? Have our lives improved since knowing each other in some way, shape, or form? And I think that's the best way of actually working out a friendship, is because I think I've come to believe that a friendship isn't just about being able to have a laugh with someone or being able to, know that they are my friend. It's people that I can have all those fun and positive times with, but I can learn from and grow from and with their own mistakes, my mistakes, our history, just having experiences in life together. And if you're able to look back on a past with people and know that maybe you've come through stuff together, maybe like it's a relationship as a type of friendship, maybe you've had quite a very close friendship with somebody, and you've realized that it may not have been this constant, like it may not have been the growth you imagine, but it's the growth that you realize you needed. Like for me, I can look back and realize, I'm not where I thought I was going to be at nearly 24, 25 years old, and I look back on the last nearly 10 years. I didn't even have these friends I have now 10 years ago. I've even lost a couple of friendships in the last few years. But when I look back on ever since I've met the friends I've met, we're all in a better place than we were, and we're all doing amazingly well, and we all, we're closer than we've ever been, really. And I think you always get closer and closer. I think that you ultimately, you naturally gravitate towards the people that you think are right for you and you just naturally get along with. But then I think you kind of start figuring yourself out, and you help each other figure each other out by just being friends. And that's certainly been my experience, I think, is the friends I've had. I have had amazing times with, fun with, and my friends, for instance, are filmmaking friends. We have a massive passion for storytelling together, making films together. We share the same sense of humor, dark humor, and it's it's just the best and closest friendships I've ever had in my life, and they're amazing people. And so for me, yes, there's been ups and downs, but it's always been a net positive. It's always been up. It's like a stock market graph. It's up and down and up and down and up and down. But then when you zoom out, you realize we were here at the beginning, and now we're up here, and we're still going. And it may not feel like that at times. You may feel like, oh, this isn't the best friendship. But actually, when you look at it, you're like, well, no, because in my mind, like 10 years ago, I wanted it to be like this before I even knew them. That's certainly my experience. I've looked back at my friendships I've had the last like 5, 10 years and been like, I didn't think I was going to have friendships like this. I love them, but it's almost odd in the most positive way. And now I look back and I realize, well, actually, that was because of my own self-image of myself, whether I thought that to be true or not. Whereas now I think I'm getting closer to who I think I truly am and what I'm trying to strive for in life. And it's because of those friendships that I'm getting closer to that and where they want me to be based on where I want to be myself. And we're all helping each other get there over time through what we do and how we are friends and have things in common with each other. And so I think in your life, you need to analyze your close circles and see how people help you and see how you benefit from the friendships you have. And it may always not be the benefits and improvements that you think you're going to get. Because again, friendships come in all shapes and sizes, and because they do, you're not always going to get the kind of expected change that you think. And you might expect, oh, I'm going to have this friendship because we're going to learn together, grow together, we're going to make them, it might be business friends or work friends, and you're going to make this amazing business together, or you're going to make amazing films together, or whatever you might have in common. And you think you're going to grow as you see yourself in your head growing with that person. And it's going to be so many great lessons. But actually, you may realize, well, hold on a minute. In the end, you're like, well, why did this friendship end? Or why, has it been rocky? You kind of confuse, you get confused along the path. And you're like, well, why is this going the way it is? And I actually realize that these are the necessary lessons and necessary obstacles and experiences you need to have with that person to get to where you really want to be. And you don't see that at the beginning or during the process sometimes, but it's not until you overcome some of the bigger obstacles that you realize that, it's not the growth that you expected, it's the growth that you needed. And I've been coming to learn that a lot in the past, even just a few months, but especially over these past few years, is growth doesn't come as you expect it. It comes as it needs to come in your life. That's probably a good quote right there. Maybe I'll put that on social media. But it really does. Growth really comes from, it comes from what you need, not what you expect. And I think that's the biggest thing. So analyze the people in your life and do self-reflection as well, and kind of really see who your friends are and see if what you need to work on as a person. Because it might be like, oh, my friends are crap. Maybe that's because you need to work on yourself. Like with me in my situation, learning a few years ago, I've always understood that I've had accountability issues to a certain extent, and I didn't realize how bad it was. So I've been learning that a lot, learning more about myself in that way and why I have this bad habit, and why I'm trying to be as truthful and as honest and open and authentic as possible with my friends and people in my life in general, and just practicing, like, naturally, as obvious as it sounds, just being open and authentic all the time. And it's the best way to keep improving and keep growing. So just think about all the friends in your life, your family. Are they a positive influence or a negative influence? Are they a net positive and net negative? And look at yourself as well, because sometimes you are not the person that you think you are. Sometimes you think you're the bad or the good guy, and sometimes you're the opposite. So, self-reflect and look at your friend, look at your family, and talk to them as well. Just think about it, see what you can do, see what improvements you can make, and see how you've grown as well. Look back on the past, because you might think you're not growing until you look back. And you look back at the lessons, and you look back at everything. And see how you've grown with your friends and your family. Because I certainly have, and I have some of the best friends I've ever had, because it's been some of the most unexpected friendships in my life. I never expected 10 years ago to have the friends I have now, and I've never been more grateful to have them in my life. So it's fantastic, and they're the most creative and amazing friends I could ever ask for. And who knows what's going to happen, because again, it's never going to be what you expect, it's just going to be what you need. And I think that's the most amazing part about it, because we shouldn't go into it with expectation. We should just know that whatever happens, as long as we do right by ourselves and for our friends, then it's going to be whatever it needs to be. So yeah, enough with the motivational stuff, but yeah, just think about all that, and I hope it helps. It's certainly helping me. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.